The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
This summer, Sprite is bringing you the Live from the Label Tour, featuring live stream concerts from your favorite hip-hop artists, including Lotto, Saweetie, and Jack Harlow. Need a ticket? Just buy a Sprite bottle and scan the label. Scan 3 bottles and see 3 of this summer's hottest shows.
We causing a commotion.
Brought to you by Sprite.
Get your ticket to Sprite's Live from the Label Tour when you purchase a 20-ounce Sprite or Sprite Zero Sugar at your nearest retailer.
This summer, Sprite is bringing you the Live from the Label Tour, featuring live stream concerts from your favorite hip-hop artists, including Lotto, Saweetie, and Jack Harlow. Need a ticket? Just buy a Sprite bottle and scan the label. Scan 3 bottles and see 3 of this summer's hottest shows.
We causing a commotion.
Brought to you by Sprite.
Get your ticket to Sprite's Live from the Label Tour when you purchase a 20-ounce Sprite or Sprite Zero Sugar at your nearest retailer.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy is suspected of having killed as many as 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series that investigates the crimes that shocked the nation.
The thing everybody thought they knew wasn't the whole story.
John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now.
Devil in disguise.
Only on Peacock.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
What are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of reefer smell on your boy?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
So what's going on? What's new?
I think it's had the itis.
Really?
Oh, I ate a big plate of barbecue ribs and I fucking was sleeping. Isn't that the itis?
Oh, is that? You mean you just got sleepy from eating?
You're not familiar with black culture, are you?
I guess not as much as I thought.
Do you remember Chappelle's show? When he did the
remember.
commercial for ribs?
I thought he got the... Oh, no, that was something different. What was the guy that had, like, the diarrhea in the public toilet?
I don't know. I mean, I believe...
It's a different skit.
Yeah.
It was an old dude talking about, I don't know. What was the skit that had the itis in it?
Oh, when he did the commercial for ribs. It talked about ribs.
It was a fake commercial?
Yes.
Okay.
He framed it as a black people sleeping aid.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar.
But
it's been a while, man. I think it's about due. I've been going back through some comedies that I haven't watched in a long time. Mr. Show being one that I watched. Mr. Show holds up fantastic.
Would they still be allowed to exist in 2021?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Are Bob and Dave canceled?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's I don't know. There's a fair amount of modern day F-bombs in there, and some references to things being gay as being uncool, as was the common slang of the time.
I just remember, what is the skit where they were making fun of sick kids? But it really wasn't.
He was too lazy.
Say I'm lazy.
No, it was David Cross playing. There's two memorable ones. There's 2 memorable kids that he plays. That one where he's in this wheelchair and they're doing like a telethon thing.
Yes.
And it's for, somebody's lazy kids. And they're like, can't you get up out of your wheelchair? And he's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he was just a lazy piece of shit. And they were all like catering to him because it's like, oh, he's got a condition of being just a lazy piece of shit. But he was really hamming it up like he was, like a kid with cancer. The other one was the kid that was completely burnt up in a fire except for his head.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was the doctors say it was a miracle I was even alive. And his favorite metal band like hears about this like miracle kid that survived this fire, and that he's a big fan of theirs, and so they're doing like Good Samaritan deed for the year, I guess, and they go to visit him, and they're like, "Oh, when you get out of the hospital, you can come and hang out with us all the time." He's like, "That's amazing." Like, yeah, here's backstage passes to our entire tour. You can follow us around the country. And then he wants to give him a hug, so they take the sheets off, and he's just got this like beef jerky body.
Oh, jeez.
It's just like, and it's all puppetry. It's just flailing limbs and stuff. It's just horrific looking. Like one of them starts puking. Brian Posehn's in the band. He starts puking, and then the rest of them are like, "What are we going to do? We can't bring this kid on tour with us. We're not going to get any ass." And so then they're trying to convince him that like it's not that cool on tour or whatever. And I don't know.
That sounds about right.
But as far as stuff that wouldn't be able to fly tonight, I mean, today, yeah, there's a couple, language things that people would bristle at. And, I'm of two minds of that. It's like, that was of the time. I don't need to, cast shade on it because, and try and, retroactively be like PC about it. And I can't front like I didn't laugh at it at the time, And I don't find it offensive because I understand what their intentions were behind it. I don't think that Bob and Dave are homophobic. What?
You're bringing intent into this. You can't
Right.
do that in 2021.
But at the same time, if these two guys, if Bob and Dave decided to revisit Mr. Show and they're still on there acting like it's the 90s and calling each other faggot and calling stuff gay, I'd be like, no, because we've evolved, right? I understand both sides of it. I don't, I might slip every once in a while, but I try not to call stuff gay when it's stuff that I don't like because that's kind of hateful towards, people that are related to me.
Fair enough.
But I'm trying to think of like...
Did David Cross ever have hair? That's another question.
No, he didn't.
Mr. Show 25 years ago, still bald as hell at this clip I'm looking at on YouTube.
He does a skit where he comes out as a bald. He's like, as you know, I play my character David, who's very close to me. I just love the little guy, And he's like, the character of David is bald, and I just wanted everyone to know that I am, in fact, me, David Cross, the real David Cross, I am a bald. And he takes this fake bald cap off to reveal his real bald head. And everyone comes out and supports him, and it's like, it's so brave of you,
Now that is ahead of its time. That is that is very ahead of its time.
Yeah, what's genius about the show, I think, and why it still stands up is because it has this kind of crazy freewheeling style to it in the way where, like good improv, like when a good episode of what was Drew Carey's show?
The Drew Carey Show.
No. The one that he hosted. He took over for somebody else. The improv show with Greg Proops.
Oh, whose line is it anyway?
Whose line is it anyway? When those guys are really cooking, those are, you had some great comedic moments that were just seemed out of control. And they have a lot of that energy in it, but the show's constructed in a way where you can't really improv anything. I mean, I'm sure you could improv here and there, but you can't really mess with the structure because the way that all the skits link together, they flow. The end of one skit, well, they'll turn on the TV and go, well, fuck it, I'm going to watch, Asshole Cops or something, and then they would go to Asshole Cop skit.
No, yeah, that was one of the brilliant things about it, is it was all written, it all ran together.
And I don't know, I was trying to think of another example of, I'm sure people have done that in sketch comedy before, but consistently. Every single episode of the show written that way. I don't know any other examples like that. For one thing, what, the SNL model is get a character that people like and want to come back and see. So that kind of throws a wrench in trying to, control an overall, episode and say, we got to, this flows into that and into that. And, oh, but wait a minute, people want to see Ronnie, So we got to put Ronnie on every episode. But they didn't do that, Ronnie was a character that they ended up making a movie with that character, Run, Ronnie, Run.
Yeah.
That was a character that appeared in episode 1. And then they revisit him a couple times. Well, maybe it's just for the Cops style episode.
Isn't his shtick he always gets arrested no matter what?
He's always getting arrested, yeah. No matter what happens, he's figuring out a way to lose shit gets out of control. He loses his shirt and his temper, and then cops come and take him away. But they could have just every episode just went, okay, well, let's throw a Ronnie skit in here because people like that character.
By the way,
and
SpongeBob SquarePants, also on Mr. Show.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, the amount of
Tom Kenny.
Jack Black.
Yeah.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Yes.
And a lot of their mainstay actors who really I didn't see pop up on anything after that, but were super solid.
I heard Bob Odenkirk went on to have himself some kind of dramatic career. Yeah. You know what's funny, though? Out of the two of those, I never, ever would have thought David Cross would end up being the sellout.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's the one that came across as the at least at the beginning, as the one heavily steeped in the counterculture, and he was the first one to sell out.
Well, I think that, definitely that was part of his persona, that he was, I don't know, I can't speak to who he is as a person, but it seemed to be a persona that he was cultivating, ultra indie guy, Evanescence sucks.
I just remember seeing him in those scary movies and going, oh, David Cross, oh.
But
really?
I think that...
Do you have a gambling habit? Do you like cocaine?
I think that part of the plan for David Cross was to cultivate this character that almost seemed sellout proof, that everything that he was doing had such a nod and wink to it to the audience that even if he was selling out and showing up in some big movie just for a paycheck and to throw a couple one-liners in, you were like, it would.
But it wasn't funny. That's why I thought it was.
Well,
sad.
yeah,
it wasn't funny. If you're gonna sell out, sell out and be fun. Do Adam Sandler selling out. Sell out and be funny.
Right, but it's hard to judge another individual on stuff like that because you're kind of assuming the desires of David Cross, right? Maybe David Cross's ideal life is to, I don't know, just be a writer behind the scenes, or maybe just do stand-up, and, everything else is just to so I can continue doing the things that I actually love. Nicolas Cage is somebody who's made a lot of bad movies, and he's also made a lot of good movies. I forgive Nicolas Cage for showing up in a bad movie. I expect Nicolas Cage to show up in a bad movie. He gets a paycheck. He gets to live the life that he wants. He goes out and gambles it away or whatever the fuck he does. Not my place to say.
That's the rumor, by the way.
And, yeah. And, and then, and also take some time to do a movie that may not pay as well, but is a little more, art house, that, something like a Leaving Las Vegas that actually has some sticking power.
Bob Odenkirk, his path it took a little longer, but it seemed more fruitful.
Well, Bob Odenkirk he was behind the scenes for a while, right? Because he went on to, did he write for SNL after Mr. Show?
He was the head writer, I think, at the end of, after Farley and Sandler left, he was the head. I think he was the head writer.
That was before then. That was before
the Jay
Mr.
Moore
Show.
Years.
Because late 90s is when Mr. Show comes in.
Yeah, Odenkirk was the head writer when like Sarah Silverman, Jay Moore, that era. The era that the post Farley, pre Will Ferrell era that wasn't considered very good.
Right.
Yeah, that was what Bob Odenkirk was in charge of, I believe. But I mean, now he's a household name, and you could argue his artistic credibility very intact.
I'd say so, and I don't know that like David Cross is worse for wear. He manages to take those experiences and actually still make material off of it. He's got a whole chunk on Chipmunks the Squeakquel.
Well, yeah, he was in those movies. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the thing is he did the first one and was like, "Oh my God, that's bad," and I don't want to be involved in this anymore. But he was already kind of signed on for the second one, I guess.
And then the checks rolled in from the DVD sales. He went, "I'll do the sequel."
Well, it's not even that. Like, I think you weigh income against outgoing expenses. Like, the studio is going to tie me up in court for breaking my contract, and I'm going to have to spend money to get out of this movie that wants to pay me. Like, what's...
And really, it's bad? Oh, did you not think a live-action... live-action Alvin and the Chipmunks not winning you an Academy Awards? This is a surprise to you? Like, you know what you were getting into, David Cross. Did you ever envision a scenario in which they're saying, and the Academy Award goes to Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Well, that
maybe for CGI.
That may have been the period on David Cross's career if it wasn't for Arrested Development. And he is transcendent in that show. His choices...
Little Tobias.
The choices that he makes in every single episode just fucking kill me. When he's doing line reads with what's his name? Dude was in fucking Predator. Black dude, older actor. He was Tobias. Carl Weathers was in. He was his acting coach, right? And he's doing line reads with them, and he's reading for a dirty cop. And he's doing these line reads like he's in the Little Rascals or something. He's like, and I'm the last cop that you want to mess with. Trying to act like a tough guy. But no, yeah, if it wasn't for Arrested Development, I don't know that, I don't know, maybe something else would have come up where he really would have got to showcase. Because I think that David Cross is a genius. I think he's one of the funniest people out there. Like him and definitely other dude that we were talking about.
Bob
Odenkirk, yeah. He's funny, but he's also like, he can do really good drama too.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
New hot and iced Sunrise Batch Coffee from Dunkin'. A bright and balanced, full-bodied blend, brewed so you can get summering from sunrise to sunset. And even after that. Because that's when you can show off those string lights you hung in the backyard. Or rehung. Enjoy a medium, hot or iced Sunrise Batch Coffee for $2. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do.
And he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
But yeah, I've been looking back at older comedies because I'm not finding a whole lot in current comedy that I'm really liking.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's not clicking with me.
Well, because current comedy isn't funny.
Like even the what's the Hulu show with the aliens? That's from the Rick and Morty studio.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
You hit on it a few months ago in this new environment we're in, if you're not allowed to be edgy, and if you can't be edgy, I mean, what's left? Improv comedy?
Well, it's funny where the areas that we are still allowed to, quote unquote, be edgy. I don't know. My thoughts are all over the place. Let me gather them for a second. It's even like shows. I don't know. Even the humor where you'd normally find it in shows that aren't necessarily comedies, even that they can't really get right. Or there's a lot of shows that are trying to hit this formula of, the most recent, I think, successful example, even though it was a canceled show ultimately, and I don't think a lot of people watched it, but successful in actually doing what it was trying to do. That was, what was it called? Lodge 40-something, 47, 48, 49, something like that.
Lodge 40, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was mysterious and funny, really quirky, lots of, really eccentric characters, but, lovable characters as well. Very heartwarming story. I mean, it was super successful in bringing all these elements together, and that show kept me coming back because I was going to laugh, I was going to see what happened to these characters that I love, and I was going to maybe find out a little bit more about this mystery that they were building. And it was kind of like a really funny take on something like a Twin Peaks, type of weird mystery. And I see.
And
I think a lot of people watched that show. That a lot of industry people watched that show and liked it, but it didn't click with everyone else. So I think I see a lot of attempts to kind of get a show like that. Well, The Flight Attendant was semi-successful in doing that. I thought it was a fun show, mainly rode on the charm of the lead actor, Kaylee Cuoco, or if I'm pronouncing her last name right. But overall, not really super funny, just really charming, kind of cute story. Well, not cute. I mean, it's about murder and stuff, but I think it's White Lotus is on HBO now. That the one with Steve Zahn.
Oh, Steve Zahn's back?
Yeah, Steve Zahn's on he pops up on an HBO show every once in a while. He was on Treme, but he plays in it. It was a whole cast of characters that are going to some exclusive island, and there's some mystery. I don't know. Watched a little bit of it, but it had a little bit of mystery and it had some quirkiness, but it had zero jokes. I mean, the funniest thing about it was Steve Zahn's fake genitalia.
Is it deemed a comedy? Is it supposed to be a comedy?
It's shooting for dark. I think dark comedy ultimately is what they call a lot of these shows, where it's it's not straight drama. It's a little bit too wacky to be just drama, so it's a dark comedy, even though it's not really funny.
So bad comedy?
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? If something's labeled a dark comedy, look out, it might just be bad.
Dark comedy means that they don't. I think it means that they don't know what to do with it, and that it might be brilliant and it might be horrible. And for example, I bet dark comedy would probably definitely apply to Upright, and Upright is an absolutely brilliant show. Did I talk about this already?
No.
It's an Australian guy. He's let me see if I can find. I always forget his name. Tim Minchin, like Minchin with an I, or two I's actually. 4 if you count the 2 on his head as well. 6 if you count his glasses that he usually wears.
Buzzing.
But I was told there'd be no math. And Tim Minchin, he's an Australian performer. He sings. He does these one-man shows.
He looks like gay Jesus.
Plays piano. Yeah.
Like if Jesus were around now and gay.
Yeah. So you can see why I have an affinity for him. You know,
well, actually, Jesus was around now and looked like the white Jesus everyone has told he is.
Yeah. Look, when I worked at Guitar Center, they used to call me Jesus, but I'm sure when I wasn't around, they were calling me Gay Jesus. So he did this show called Upright. It's really his. I mean, he wrote. I'm sure he had other people write it, but he did the majority of the story. Stars in it. In the show, he plays a singer and songwriter. He plays piano. It's about a cross-country trip in Australia with a young girl who's kind of running away from home, and they get into a wreck, and their lives get entangled. And it's, oh, God, it's just gut-wrenchingly, like, sad and beautiful and amazingly funny and, like, tense and just fucking everything. It's fucking everything. And it really is just it's the best show that I've seen in recent history. It's something that I can picture going back and watching again and again. And yeah, again, the reason I brought that up, probably definitely in the dark comedy category. So it's a crapshoot.
What's it now? What is it? What is it on? Hulu, Netflix,
Upright, AMC in the States. So yeah, I think you can get like a separate AMC like streaming subscription now. So you don't have to be tied to a cable system to get it. Unlike Adult Swim, which is still
a thing. People still watch it.
Well, that's where Rick and Morty is coming out, you know. And Rick and Morty is, I think they're getting ready to wrap up their 5th season. I saw the first episode that they put up on YouTube. But other than that, I'm going to have to wait until probably maybe the end of the year or longer to see the season when it comes out on Hulu. I'm not going to pay whatever, tens of dollars a month for, hundreds, nay, thousands of channels that I'm not going to watch for one show on one channel.
Yeah, now that I'm rolling solo again, I definitely need to reevaluate all of the streaming services I have because definitely not watching all of them. This might be where me and Netflix and Hulu part ways. Cause pretty much.
I think Netflix and Hulu, just put them in a rotation. That's what I do with that Just Watch app.
A rotation of neither that I watch. It's pretty much all Xfinity.
I'm sure somebody's going to be like this documentary that you really got to see or something. So you pull up your Just Watch app, you tag it, and then when you're looking for something to watch, you go, yeah, what are all these shows that I want to check out? Oh, I've got quite a few shows on here from Netflix that people have recommended to me. All right, get a month of Netflix, check out the shows, and then cancel it. I cancel it right away.
And the only 3 things I watch Prime Video, I watch Peacock, and I have cable through the Xfinity through an app on my Roku. That's it.
Right.
Everything else, don't need you. Don't watch you. Netflix. I'm serious. Since the beginning of this year, I personally have not opened the Netflix app. Since everything I watch moved to Peacock.
Right. Yeah. All their good TV left the platform, and their original stuff really isn't all that engaging.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Although didn't they just win a bunch of Oscars? So we could be in that minority.
Yeah. Hey, we're just offering opinions.
Our cisgendered, white male, middle-aged opinions.
But Arrested Development is definitely another one that I've been, and even that's not that long ago, and I'm like, they couldn't do that. But that's another one where I've gone back to it. And when I have a Netflix subscription, I watch, half a season or whatever.
Even the new season, the quote-unquote new season, you're seeing stuff that they couldn't do. And it was only like 6 years ago.
The new season I haven't gotten up to. I've yet to rewatch any.
The new season?
No. I watched the new Netflix seasons when they were released. I haven't rewatched them. So the earlier episodes, I've seen those a couple times because I watched it all on network TV. I actually tuned in day of the premiere to say, like, what the fuck is this show that Jason Bateman's on? and fell in love with it immediately.
See, I think we talked about this. I did not get that show when it first came out.
Yeah.
I did not understand what the big deal was. And then all of a sudden one day it clicked with me, and I got it. And I found the show hilarious.
Yeah, so I was watching it when it was on broadcast. I got the DVDs when they came out, watched it again. I didn't buy those. I probably got them through Netflix Mail, the subscription. And then when they put it on the streaming service, I watched all the old episodes again, and then I watched the new one. So I've seen the old ones 3 times over and the newer ones once. And I've yet to, so I'm going on my 4th time through the old episodes, and then I'll be second run through the new stuff.
Oh, a lot of David Cross talk today.
That's our podcast.
Right.
We just talk about
just David Cross and David Cross related projects.
Yep.
In South Dakota, we're looking forward to exploring new roads and wide open spaces. When you're ready to travel, go great places. Learn more at travelsouthdakota.com.
From heading out the door and kicking off your day to enjoying the refreshing breeze on the beach, when it comes to Seagram's Ginger Ale, we won't tell you when to enjoy it because it's good at any time. Whether you're catching the latest flick at the movie theater, enjoying a break between meetings, at a family barbecue, or when you're stirring up a drink for friends or enjoying one on your own, you'll never be disappointed. Wherever you are, Seagram's refreshing taste is always welcome. Seagram's Ginger Ale. Crisp taste, any time or place.
Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.